Welcome to the Watchful Citizen. We're sponsored by the Lancaster County Democrats. My name is Barbara Baier, and today's guest is Jean Carroll. Jean is running for City Council this spring with the first election, the primary coming up on April 7th. Welcome, Jean.
Thank you for having me, Barb.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you originally from Lincoln?
Yes, born and raised. Actually, I was born at the old St. Elizabeth's Hospital on South Street, so that's a long time ago. I grew up on the north side of Lincoln, 27th and Cornhusker. Family was in the mobile home business for a lot of years, so I grew up in a small business environment. So that's kind of gone with me the rest of my life, is being involved in small business. So grew up on the north side, went to school, grade school at Sacred Heart, 31st and T, you know, kind of our urban neighborhood. Then eventually high school at Pius High School, and graduating in 1969, which we're having our 40th year anniversary coming up this summer.
Well, congratulations.
Which kind of makes you feel a little old, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
So then, you know, a lifelong citizen of Lincoln, just to grow up here, just love the city and want to stay here. And now I'm having a grandchild, so maybe she'll stay here too. So it's just a good city to live in.
Well, that's good. Tell us a little bit about your education and business background.
Sure. Well, there again, I was in the family business, took the business over, grew it, and eventually sold it. But I have a degree in economics, and I have a master's degree from the University of Nebraska in community and regional planning. I'm also a nationally certified city planner. So I have a lot of experience and background in real estate development and city planning. And currently, I'm the chairman of the Lancaster County Planning Commission, and also the chairman of the Lincoln Board of Zoning Appeals. So I have a lot of experience in issues dealing with city ordinances, zoning ordinances, and how the city functions, how the city should grow. And I think that's my experience and background.
Well, that's a really good thing to be able to bring to the City Council. I know for a lot of folks that issues of neighborhood preservation are high on their mind. What are some of your thoughts on that?
Well, it's strong, because I always want to say that you need to build the city from the inside out, and the urban cores, you've got to protect it in order for the city to stay viable and grow. So preserving our inner core neighborhoods is a strong thing. One good thing that the mayor is doing with the stimulus money is resurfacing urban arterial streets, which we've needed for a long time. And I think that helps the older neighborhoods grow and stay revitalized. Another issue as far as revitalization is the development or the neighborhoods south of the Capitol. We're now currently working as a planning commission to revitalize that area using TIF money. Because the area is only 76% non-owner occupied residents, we want to bring people back into the neighborhoods. That makes them grow, that makes them survive, makes them prosper by bringing residents in and having them live in the neighborhoods. And that's the important part of revitalization of neighborhoods. Another key component is like the near south and the South Street redevelopment area along South Street. Mm-hmm. The new street that they put in there, resurfaced and thing, brought new businesses back into the neighborhoods, and that's what revitalizes, makes people want to live there, and that's important for the city.
Yeah, it does look really good down there. Now, I know that North Bottoms had some issues recently. Do you have any thoughts on that area?
Well, we've talked about it, and there's a development that was planned for the 14th and Military Street, which was a new housing development. But the issue there was floodplain, because the North Bottoms is a floodplain area. Okay. And we made sure as a planning commission that we established no net rise, which means that a new development would not flood out the neighboring neighbors in that area. I know with the new development they were going to improve the park that's there, parks are important for neighborhoods. Yeah. So we've got to balance the issue of new development versus the older neighborhoods, make it balanced and help both grow in the city, and I think that's North Bottoms is a good example of that.
And you mentioned TIF in there, which for some people just is a confusing term. Can you tell us more what that is about?
Sure, and TIF stands for tax increment financing, and basically most of the time it's been used on the commercial business side versus residential. Sure. And it's basically you take the base of what a property valuation is today, and then look at how much, if you're going to redevelop it, how much the tax base would grow between what it is today and what it'll grow when it's done. And that difference is the value that you can TIF or get bonds on to provide money for development or redevelopment around that site, new streets, sidewalks, infrastructure that's important to that development. And that's usually over a 12 to 15 year time that bond money is used to pay off those expenses, and then it eventually goes back to paying property taxes. TIF now is going to be used at that project south of the Capitol, where it's going to be used for new residential or to rehab residential residents, which provides people in those neighborhoods to stay there, rehab their houses, improve their property values, and eventually it'll kind of raise the boat of that neighborhood. And that's a good economic tool that TIF does, and I think the city does a good job of using that tool.
It's been one that has been more wisely used here in this locality than sometimes we hear in other localities, which is a great thing. So when you're talking about the city council, what are some of the priorities of your race?
Well, I think the number one is retaining the jobs we have in manufacturing and all the business that we have, and then getting new jobs to grow into the city. And a good example is, Verizon was a good employer that came to town, up to 800 jobs it's going to produce. That's the type of thing the city council can do to attract new business and retain business in Lincoln. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm running for city council. The second thing is protecting the citizens, police and fire. Always important to protect your citizens in a growing community. And the third thing is fiscal responsibility, making sure that your government is running smoothly, there's not inefficiency, there's not waste, and I think there is. And so that's the three things I really think strongly that Lincoln needs in the city council.
Mm-hmm.